How's it going? Welcome back to Sunny Sheets. I'm Carson, and today I'm talking about something a little bit different. Wanted to make a video talking about my book methodology, which is a really fancy way of talking about how I buy books, how I decide what I'm reading next, and my high-level goals when it comes to reading as a hobby. So I think to start off this video, first I'll talk about how I pick the books I'm going to read. So for me, when it comes to book series, I'll just pick them because book series are more of a time commitment, and so that's something that I'd rather pick. So I'll pick one book series to focus on. And then once I've picked a series, I'll read them in one of two ways. If the book series is a straight sequential, so wherever book one ends, book two immediately starts there and the same plot just immediately picks up throughout the whole series, those kind of books I will read straight through. The Poppy War trilogy and the Bloodsworn trilogy were like that. I read them all the way through, book 1, 2, 3, just sequentially. But then there are some book series that are a little more episodic, like Gunmetal Gods, where book 1 was a self-contained plot, book 2 was in the same universe and did feature characters, but the plot of book 2 was its own independent thing. So book series that are like that, I'm a little more willing to read book 1, read a different standalone book, book 2 of that series, different standalone book or whatnot. And for standalone books, I basically just have my friends and family, like I'll send them a picture of my TBR pile on the top of the bookshelf and have them pick it. Because I like when there's a bit of randomness with the standalone that gets picked. So I think with that reading strategy is a nice way to mix in reading book series and committing to stuff while also giving myself some variety and spontaneity with how those standalones are chosen. It kind of just gives me overall variety with what I'm reading. This is the top of my bookshelf, which is my TBR pile. The TBR pile mostly consists of standalones, or at least just certain entries to series that maybe are a bit more episodic, like detective books. And so at any given moment in time, I am focused on reading one series, and then I will mix in standalones into that reading, or I'll just read the whole series and then read a few standalones after that. So when it comes to reading a series, I will never buy a whole series at once. I will buy the first book, read the first one, and then if I liked it, I'll order the second one and so on. So for whatever active series that I'm reading, I'll just have the book I'm reading at the moment, and then when I'm done with it, I'll order the next one. That way, I don't have like a bunch of series I want to start on the bookshelf. I don't have a lot of room in here, so for a book series, I'll just have the books delivered, and then for standalone books, I like to just kind of spontaneously go to bookstores and find stuff that looks interesting, and then put them on here. And then my ultimate rule for not owning too many books that I have not read is that I get two piles, and the piles cannot go past my frame of Aang. So that's why these piles, they kind of both end just right here. So that way, like, I can't have a book that goes past the height of that frame. And I have two high-level goals. The first one is to read intentionally, which means like retaining the story, having a connection with it, being able to actively recall what I read, and having some sort of critical thinking and analysis of the book. So to kind of show you, this is what the books look like when I read them. So whatever book I'm currently reading, this is Elder Epoch. It's the third book of Gunmetal Gods. It finally came in the mail. I just finished Between Two Fires, so I'm gonna have a book chat coming out about that within a week. So be on the standby for that. But I always have a pen like attached to my books, and then my bookmark are just my tabs, because I write notes in the back of my books, and I circle quotes, and I tab the pages and stuff like that. So if I grab a book off the bookshelf, Sword of Kaigen's a good example. They're all tabbed up. I can just kind of point to a tab and I've got something memorable or cool or important or whatever. And I just love it because I can pick up any book that I read months ago, go to a tab. Yeah, I love it. I love I love tabbing my books. I love that I can pick them up and just immediately jump to something that that gave me some kind of rise, or it's just like plot points that I thought were important to know. So secondly, so that was the first thing. The way that I read the books is I write in them and I take notes and I take quotes and stuff that had some kind of rise in me, like that made me feel a certain way. So then I have a whole ritual. Whenever I finish reading every book, I have this whole ritual where first I get this journal. So this journal is more of my general journaling and writing down cool stuff and all kind of random stuff that has meaning to me. So I take all of my book excerpts that I tab and I write them all in here. This is the journal I do the video outros in. So every time I read an outro, they all come from this journal that were all quotes from books I read. And I also words I don't know the definition of, I write the definitions in here. So that is one part of my, what I call like my book write-up when I'm done with any given book. Then this is the master one. Every time I finish a book, I give it an entire page. So I write basically a full active recall of the plot and the quirks. It could be the biggest things about the books. It could be the themes, the things that it's trying to teach you, or it could be the most surface level, tiny detail that I was like, that's cool. Like in Snow Crash, there's a main character who has glass weapons. He uses like a glass blade and a glass spearhead, and that had no real emotional importance. I just thought it was cool. And I just, so all of those little things I write down because, you know, you can generally remember the really big plot points of a book, but those little things get lost with time. And I just find it very rewarding that I can go back to a book I read 5 months ago and have more of my specific thoughts. And the third one is actually applicable to this channel, and this is a really important one for me after starting the YouTube channel. I want my natural reading habits to dictate my schedule and what I put on BookTube. I do not want the pressures of BookTube to dictate how I read. You know, if you want to have a big audience, if you want to make money, if you want to be really big and successful, there's probably a lot of non-ideal stuff you'd have to do. There's probably certain things you should focus on making videos about. And, you know, like for example, I recognize that doing specific book reviews is just not what everyone wants to watch. More of the generalized videos would probably do better. Just top 10 favorite books or these 8 book series I want to read. And I definitely want to make more of those videos, and I think that's cool. But I made this channel with the intention of creating videos about the books I've read a way to help me actively recall and talk through my opinions and stuff about the book. And I guess the point I'm getting at is I don't want to feel pressured or to try to make videos that I think will do well or that I think will get more attention, because that's not my goal. My goal is just to make videos about what I'm naturally reading. I want my reading habits to be no different now than they were before I started the YouTube channel. And you know, sometimes like with BookTube, there's this possible pressure of feeling that you need to read more. You know, oh, this booktuber over here, he just read 12 books this month. Oh, he's gonna talk about all 12 and he did a book. And that's another one, like book haul videos. People have these book hauls of boxes of books, but the way that I buy books is just very different. I don't like owning many books I haven't read. So I have this physical limitation, and I only ever buy 2 books at a time, maybe 3 books if I'm pushing it. And I recognize that that just does not make a cool video. I mean, that'd be a 2-minute long video. Hey, I got this one book. I got this second one. Thanks for watching. Like, I know that's not a cool video. And so that's sort of what I mean. I'm not going to go out and buy 30 books just for the sake of knowing I can make a book haul video. That's just not what I would naturally do, so I'm just not gonna do that. And so that's one thing I wanna make sure I focus on, is just being authentic, reading the same books, reading at the same natural pace that I would, and making videos when I can, when I have the time. My second goal is a lot more surface level and a lot simpler, but I just want to have diversity. I want to read a lot of different stuff. I want to read more nonfiction. I can't wait to get to Lonesome Dove to read a Western. I'm definitely going to read a romantasy and a romance book at some point. And I don't know if I said this already, I want to read more nonfiction. I think I said that first, I can't remember. But yeah, I want to read diverse genres, and I also want to diversify time periods. So I like reading new books that just came out, and I like modern fantasy, but I also want to read some more classic fantasy and older fantasy. And just in general, with any genre, I want to read older and newer books. There's just different writing styles from now compared to the 90s or the 80s, or especially like the 60s and such. So I just like how I want to diversify. I want to make sure that I'm reading different time periods, different genres, just all kind of different stuff. If you made it to this point in the video, thanks for hanging. I wanted to make a different kind of video that wasn't a book chat, and my reading methodology and the way that I've been choosing to read has been really important to me recently, because I don't want to read a ton of books and not remember anything. And these like rituals where I sit down and document these phrases and these bits of wisdom from these books and fill out this whole literature lexicon that I call it. You know, it's been really rewarding. It's been really fun. And it's also allowed me to have these little outro bits where I read a pretty excerpt from the book, and I just love it. It's been a real joy doing it. And I just thought it'd be fun to make a video where I vocalize these things and talk about it. So hopefully you got something out of it, or were at least mildly entertained. So again, if you made it here, thanks for hanging. We're gonna continue with the ritual of doing our book excerpt outros. Oh yeah, this is a good one. This is actually what got me to buy Spellslinger by Sebastian de Castell. This is the very beginning of the book. The old spellcasters like to say that magic has a taste. Ember spells are like a spice burning the tip of your tongue. Breath magic is subtle, almost cool, the sensation of holding a mint leaf between your lips. Sand, silk, blood, iron, they each have their flavor. Intro paragraph to Spellslinger by Sebastian de Castell. Thanks for hanging.